Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we re-diving deep into one of America's most enduring mysteries, the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. This wasn't just any fire. It scorched a city, reshaped a nation, and left behind a trail of questions that still intrigue us over 150 years later. You probably think you know the story. Mrs. O'Leary's cow, a kick, a lantern, and boom, Chicago goes up in flames. But what if I told you that iconic tale is mostly a myth? Get ready, because we're going to uncover the hidden history, explore some wild conspiracy theories, and look at actual maps and photos from 1871 to piece together what really happened. Before we jump in, hit that like button if you're excited to unravel this historical puzzle, and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. So, let's start with the legend. Catherine O'Leary, her barn, her cow, and a fateful lantern on October 8th, 1871. This story became ingrained in American folklore, often portraying Mrs. O'Leary as a clumsy, negligent immigrant whose animal accidentally sparked the inferno. It's a compelling narrative, easy to digest, and frankly, a convenient scapegoat. But historical investigations, even those conducted shortly after the event, found little to no credible evidence to support it. The cow couldn't have kicked over a lantern. Cows don't do that. And even if it could, eyewitness testimonies linking the fire directly to the O'Leary barn and that specific action were flimsy at best, often contradictory, and sometimes even coerced. The truth is, Mrs. O'Leary and her family were likely victims of circumstance, class prejudice, and a public desperate for a simple explanation. Imagine being blamed for destroying an entire city. It's a tragic footnote to a much larger disaster. So, if not a cow, then what? This is where the real mystery begins, and where we start to see how factors far beyond a single animal's hooves played a role. Chicago in 1871 was a city ripe for disaster. It was booming, growing incredibly fast, with an insatiable appetite for lumber. Most of its buildings, from humble homes to grand structures, were made almost entirely of wood. Wooden sidewalks, wooden streets, wooden roofs. It was practically a tinderbox waiting for a spark. Add to that an exceptionally dry summer and autumn, with little rainfall for months, making everything incredibly parched. The city's fire department, while brave, was also stretched thin, underfunded, and exhausted from fighting numerous smaller fires in the days leading up to the Great Conflagration. They were literally fatigued. Now, let us look at some contemporary maps from 1871. You can clearly see the dense concentration of wooden structures, especially in the areas where the fire spread most rapidly. The O'Leary barn was in the West Division, a working-class neighborhood packed with wooden homes and businesses. The fire started there, yes, but how? The official inquiry couldn't definitively pinpoint the exact cause. It was simply listed as unknown. This lack of a clear, definitive answer, combined with the sheer scale of destruction, naturally fueled a multitude of alternative theories. This is where things get really interesting and a bit wild. If not Mrs. O'Leary's cow, then perhaps something more sinister? Or something completely out of this world? One popular theory that emerged much later, particularly in the late 20th century, involved a comet. Yes, a comet. Some theorized that fragments from Biela's comet, which was known to be breaking up around that time, could have impacted Earth, causing not only the Chicago fire, but also other major fires that occurred on the very same day across the Midwest, like the Peshtigo fire in Wisconsin, which was even deadlier in terms of human lives lost. While it sounds like science fiction, the idea gained some traction. However, scientists generally dismiss this, pointing out that such impacts would leave much larger craters and more widespread evidence than just fires. Still, it's a fascinating thought, suggesting a cosmic explanation for a terrestrial catastrophe. Another theory points to a much more human element: arson. Could someone have deliberately set the fire? The times were turbulent, with economic disparities and social unrest. Some speculated about disgruntled workers, vengeful individuals, or even insurance fraud. There were whispers about political motives or even organized crime, although the latter was not as formalized then as it would become. However, like the O'Leary cow theory, specific evidence for deliberate arson has never materialized. Investigators at the time were thorough, and while they couldn't find the source, they found no solid proof of foul play. The idea of arson often arises after any major disaster, a natural human instinct to look for a villain when faced with overwhelming destruction. But without concrete proof, it remains purely speculative. So, if not a cow, not a comet, and not deliberate arson, what are the most plausible explanations? Most historians and fire experts today lean towards a combination of factors, all converging on that fateful night. A careless smoker, a forgotten ember from a pipe, a spark from a passing train, or even spontaneous combustion from improperly stored materials in the O'Leary barn or a neighboring property. With the entire city acting as a massive fuel source, any small spark could have quickly spiraled out of control, especially with the extremely dry conditions and a strong southwesterly wind that fanned the flames across the city. This wind was a crucial factor, turning small fires into roaring infernos in minutes. Imagine watching that unfold. Let's take a moment to look at some heartbreaking photos from the aftermath. These aren't pleasant images, but they tell a powerful story. Block after block of rubble, chimneys standing like lonely sentinels, and the sheer scale of devastation. Over 17,000 buildings were destroyed, covering an area of nearly 4 square miles. Around 100,000 people were left homeless, and an estimated 300 lives were lost. The economic impact was staggering, with damages estimated at over $200 million, which is billions in today's money. Chicago, a vibrant, rapidly expanding city, was reduced to ashes. It was a national disaster that shocked the entire country. But here's the inspiring part of the story, and what truly defines the spirit of Chicago: its resilience. Despite the monumental destruction, the city didn't just rebuild, it rebuilt better and stronger. Within weeks, temporary shelters were up, and plans for reconstruction were already underway. Architects, engineers, and workers poured into the city. Building codes were updated, replacing wood with brick and stone, creating a safer, more modern urban landscape. The city's motto became Urbs in Hordo, meaning city in a garden, reflecting a desire for green spaces, but its enduring spirit is often summarized by "I will," showcasing its determination to rise from the ashes. Chicago truly exemplifies the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. The Great Chicago Fire remains a poignant reminder of both vulnerability and strength. It's a testament to how quickly disaster can strike and how quickly communities can rally to rebuild. And while the mystery of its exact origin may never be fully solved, the fire undeniably shaped Chicago's future, forcing it to innovate and modernize, ultimately becoming the magnificent city we know today. So what do you think? Were you surprised to learn about the debunked cow myth? Do any of the other theories resonate with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing what you all think. If you found this exploration of history fascinating, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into history's most intriguing stories. Your support helps us bring these tales to life. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.